everyone, and welcome back to the Ability 411. I'm Amber Marcy, and I'm your host on Wednesdays. I hope that you enjoyed Tiffany and Erica this week. I am here today to talk to you about depression. Depression is something that has affected me since my accident, but depression is also something I have overcome since my accident and know how to deal with those deep, dark feelings and the worries that I have of my life on wheels. When I was first injured at 15, there was no time for the poor me, woe is me. I was too busy. I was in therapy. I was an inpatient for 4 months. When I left inpatient, I was an outpatient. I was a busy girl. I left inpatient therapy on a Friday, started back to school on Monday, was crowned homecoming queen on that Friday. I had no time to sit around and think, oh, poor me. I had friends rallying around me, friends who wanted to learn how to help me, friends who wanted to learn those intimate details so I could still be part of sleepovers and things that girls who were 15 did. Then time went on. I turned 16 and things were still okay. Well, then I turned 17 and I became a senior in high school. This is when things began to get tough. My friends started dating seriously. Some of them started having sex. All of my friends were still in sports. I was really sick and tired of being the spectator. And it hit me like a brick wall. I was pissed. I was mad. But my depression and my anger didn't come out in a typical depression form, what you would think. It wasn't days and hours of laying in bed and feeling, oh, woe is me. It was anxiety. It was horrible, horrible, racing thoughts. What if this happens? Or what if that happens? And I'm never going to have a boyfriend. And nobody's ever going to want to be with me. And how am I ever going to play a sport in a wheelchair? And it was the constant what ifs. It wasn't the woe is me, but it was just as debilitating. In fact, it put me inpatient. I went into an inpatient facility and got mental health help, for lack of better words. I was inpatient for about a week and a half, and I got on antidepressants. I learned to cope with those feelings and learned that most of them were irrational feelings, that I could indeed date someday. And there were other people out there that did date in chairs. But it took for me to go talk to somebody and do some research and accept my position in a chair, that I could still be loved and could still love back. And this all came with lots of counseling and lots of exploring and learning who I was. At this time, I went on antidepressants, and I am currently still on antidepressants. And I'm not too proud to be on them. I think that they really help me. In fact, I'm almost kind of terrified to go off them, which could almost be a bad thing, but I don't like to say that they're my crutch, but I like to say that I know that they help me, and I know that if I didn't have them, I may fall back into a position where I was before. So after the first bout with serious depression and anxiety, more anxiety, depression and anxiety go hand in hand. It's very common to have depression and anxiety, and or anxiety and depression. So after the first bout, I did really well. I moved on and I graduated high school. I went to college. I moved out on my own. My father's a builder. He built me an accessible home. I moved out when I was 18. When I moved out, I built a 3-bedroom house. I had roommates. My roommates were some of my best friends, and they were also my caregivers. They did a majority of my afternoon caregiving when I needed things. I did have an agency come in the morning for about 3 hours to help with morning bathroom routine, showering and dressing. But my friends who lived with me did the rest of it. They were there to help me with daily activities, what I needed. I mean, I drove on my own, and there are things, I can do on my own, but simple things as far as putting my hair in a ponytail or, helping me bring groceries in, they were always there. So time went on, and we all graduated college, and my roommates, they moved on. They got jobs. They had serious boyfriends. One moved away. And it was me, all alone, in my own house. They had moved on, one by one. They had slowly moved out, and it was me, all by myself. Me in my wheelchair against the world. Yeah, I still had my friends. They were still around, but it was different. We're older now. We didn't see each other all the time at school. We all were creating our own paths, creating new lives. I didn't know what this meant for me. I was by myself. I was terrified. I had a holy shit moment. What am I going to do? I started doing things on my own, mopping floors, vacuuming. I'm a quadriplegic, so I do have impairments in all 4 limbs. I was falling out of my chair. I wasn't able to get back up in it. I was having to make phone calls for people to come and help me, crying. This is when my second depression hit, and it hit really hard. And again, this came out in a form of anxiety, where I did what if. I mean, it was constant what if game. Everywhere I went, I was comparing myself to their life, and why can't my life be like theirs? I'd see somebody with a wedding ring on. Oh my gosh, they have to be so happy. They're married, their life's together, they have a job, they must have it all. Went and saw my counselor one day. She, of course, always playing the devil's advocate. Just because somebody has a wedding ring on does not mean they're happy. Now, later in life, 10 years later, I learned that. Not just because somebody has a wedding ring on, they're happy. But for me, at that time, that's all it meant for me. Being alone was not where I wanted to be. And having these horrible, anxious thoughts about what was going to happen to me and who was going to help me with the basic things that I needed was terrifying. And it came to the point where it caused horrible, horrible anxiety again. And I ended up calling the ambulance and having them come and get me, because the horrible anxiety also led to suicidal thoughts. The what ifs. What if I drive my car off the road because I just can't deal with these racing thoughts anymore? What if I decide to take a bunch of pills because I can't deal with these racing thoughts anymore, and these horrible stomach aches because I'm so anxious, and these panic attacks? And it was never, I want to take these pills or drive myself off the road because I can't live like this anymore. It was, how am I going to live like this? And I am terrified. And I never want to be alone. Being alone was my worst fear. I have now accepted the fact that I have caregivers, and they come in and help me. And I've accepted the fact that I need to go see a counselor, and I need to share my thoughts. And it's good to go and see her. She's somebody who isn't going to judge me, or somebody that knows everything about me. I mean, she knows what I tell her, and she does know everything about me, but she doesn't know things that maybe a best friend would know, and advice that a best friend is going to give you. Counselor is somebody that's going to guide you and help you. And they only have to know what you want to tell them. I mean, you have to be honest with a counselor if you want to get help. And, you know, this is my take on depression, and this is how depression has affected me. I have also mentored other women and men with spinal cord injuries and a lot of people do have much more struggles than I do. They, you know, in fact, I was just asked to go see a girl whose goal is to be dead by the time she's 25 because she just doesn't see life in a chair. And there's so much life beyond an accident. And there may be times when you can't see it and when you feel like just your world is crumbling down and why would this happen to you and why me? There's always a reason. There's always a reason that something happens. You may never know that reason, but I can guarantee you that there's a reason. There's a reason why I came across that nurse who asked me to go and talk to this young lady whose goal is to be dead by the time she's 25. There's a reason why I'm going to go there. Now, am I going to convince this girl that she shouldn't end her life? One never knows. But I can sure go there and share my story and tell her all of the amazing opportunities that I've had and what I've been blessed with, and how life in a chair is just another opportunity to grow and educate. This has been more of a blessing to me than it has been a hinder. Sounds weird. I know it does. But I can promise you that it has. This is my take on depression. And this is my experience with depression. Everybody has different types of experiences. Everybody experiences depression in a different way. I want you to know that if you have any questions on anxiety or depression, please email us, as we would love to help you and love to guide you through a dark time in your life. Please also, if you ever have suicidal thoughts or feel like you just cannot go on, please call 911. There is life after a spinal cord injury. We are all here to tell you. Please take a look at our pictures at some of the things that we've done, some of the traveling we've done, and know that there's life beyond a spinal cord injury, and know that depression is normal, and know that it's going to happen, and expect it. And if it doesn't happen, I would almost think that it would be abnormal. If you're happy that you were born with a disability, or that you were catapulted into a wheelchair at some point in your life, I can't imagine that you're going to be happy about it. There's got to be some sort of struggles that you've had, and it's normal. I feel it would be abnormal if you didn't. I really hope you enjoyed my segment today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. I am not sure what our topic is going to be. I will leave that in the dark for you, something amazing, just like this week. I really hope that you can take some of this and think about it, and digest it a little bit, and if you can relate to me in any way or you want to ask me any questions, like I said, feel free. I look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday, and I hope you have a great week. Thanks.